Oh, oh, wow. Am I live? Am I actually live? Um, Welcome to my channel, Tones Take, as I've been calling it for the past year or so. I just decided to put a random video on about it's Shane. Shane, what's his whole name? I guess it's just Shane. I've really been kind of following him off and on. And when I say follow, I'm not really following him. But I guess this is the world of Jake Paul. This video has like 13 million views. It's 47 minutes long. My goodness. I'm just amazed at how far some of these YouTubers have come for doing, almost next to nothing. When I first saw some of Shane's videos, I thought they were the stupidest thing. I was in my mid 20s, maybe I just started working. YouTube was still in its infancy. There wasn't really much going on, but it was really easy to make it big in YouTube for just doing, normal stupid stuff. Now you got to go and do really crazy things in order to get any sort of notoriety on YouTube, unless you're somehow already famous like Will Smith, in which case you just pick up a camera and say hi and make a silly face, and then you get 1 million views. I mean, I'm pretty sure Will Smith could literally pick up a camera, just go, "Arr!" and bam, that's 2 million views right there. It's pretty amazing. Not that I have anything against that. Look, my channel, my whole goal in this has just been to do a video every day, every night, 365 days this year in 2018, and here we are, October 10th, and I have done just that, and it's been amazing. Some videos have done really good, some videos have done really bad. Lately I have had like zero motivation for these videos. I've just wanted to get them done and over with. Work has been so busy, and I love it. I absolutely love what I'm doing at work, and it's been so busy that I really have no need or no real desire to do these videos anymore. I'm just doing them now because I made a promise to myself. It was my New Year's resolution, so to speak, that I was going to do one video each day for the entire year in 2018, and I've done that. And unlike any other year of my entire existence, I have never done anything for this long based off of a New Year's resolution. Every year I wake up, that's a natural. Every day I breathe, my heart beats. Every day I get up and I either go to school or I go to work. Those are things that are just givens. But I've never made a New Year's resolution and actually stuck to it. I've made workout goals. I've made just different things that I've wanted to try to do. Never stuck to it. So for some reason, YouTube, I've been able to do that, and it's been pretty good to know that I could actually do that. But again, this has been so easy. It would have been different if I had set a goal to be like, get 1 subscriber each day, or to, get 365 subscribers in a year. And, oddly enough, I'm actually kind of close to that. But again, that's not really what I care about. I want to be able to look back on this when, I'm 40, or when I'm 50 or 60 or 70 or 80. I want to be able to look back on this and say, wow, look at what I was doing. Look at the stupid things that I said back in 2018 when I was only 32 years old. And I don't know. We'll see what happens from it. I would love to know what some of your goals have been for this 2018 year. Have you been successful in them? Have they panned out to how you've liked them? But this year has been pretty interesting. This year, politically, economically, legally, there's just been a lot of things that have happened. Entertainment-wise, we've seen, just the ups and downs of humanity. And it was kind of hard talking about some of these things. I would say the hardest thing for me doing these videos was doing a video that had substance, doing a video that would actually mean something, doing a video that when I did look back, I would say, you know what, I'm glad I talked about that. I'm glad that I was a part of the conversation about a certain thing, rather than doing something stupid. Yes, I did a couple stupid videos. I would say my ASMR mukbang video was probably one of the stupidest things that I did. It had literally like no reason, no rhyme to it, other than I just had no other idea, and I saw someone do a Jamaican mukbang video. I believe it was like Latoya's Life or something, and then I seen all these ASMR videos that have been popping up, and I was like, well, what if I just combine the two and do that? And so I did it, and that was it. But that's not me necessarily. I am a very laid back and chill kind of guy. I am a very, hey, this is my life. I'm not very public about it. Again, I don't think YouTube should be a place where you share all of your public life. I think YouTube is a place to share your thoughts, but to the extent where you're sharing your entire life, that's another thing. I tried the vlogging. Vlogging is great if you care to have a camera in your hand 24/7. Vlogging is something that some people like to do. You just pick up a video camera, you just film it, but then you got to edit it. And you're sitting there and you could spend, 2 minutes to 2 hours to do 2 days trying to edit down an appealing vlog for someone to watch and to see. And it's just not realistic. And the worst part about it is after you do all of that work, no one might watch it, someone might watch it, it could get 1 million views. You never know. I've realized that YouTube is a very fickle beast, and unless you have the teeth to gain that traction in it, or the networks, if you're willing to build the networks and do the work, I've realized that there's so much work into building networks. It's like a typical job. It's a real job, except you're literally the boss, you're the employer, you're the marketer, you're the financial director, you're everything. You're the host, you're the actor, you are everything. And I can see why so many YouTubers over this past year have called it quits. They've, talked about their depression. They've talked about things not working, even though they seem so happy on screen. They've talked about this is a hard line of work. It's harder than I would say my job as an engineer, because at least as an engineer, I have a strict set of rules. I work in physics. Physics is explainable. Physics is simple. I understand it. Everyone else understands it. We're all working to the same rules, and we're all building something based off of those rules. With YouTube, with creating content, there are no rules. I mean, you think about the artists of the Renaissance era, before and after. You think about, the classical musicians. There were probably thousands of other artists and musicians whose names we'll never hear about, who probably created things that were better than Beethoven, that were better than Renault, that were better than Picasso, and we'll never hear about them, because they just didn't have the right connections, they didn't hit the right point at the right time, and so they're just forgotten in history. And I think about that with YouTube, it's probably the same way. You have thousands, if not millions, of content creators, people that are putting videos on YouTube right now as we speak, that are standing in a basement like I am, speaking into a camera like I am, talking about their lives, talking about their day, trying to do something maybe to change the world, and they will never be heard. Or they might be heard by one person, or they might be heard by several millions. You never know. But it's all about, can you network, can you get it out there, can you market it, can you speak, so many different things that go into it. And I applaud every YouTuber. Now, I know it's only October 10th. I've got, November 10th, that's 30 days. December 10th, that's another 30 days. And then, 20. So that's like, I literally have less than 100 days left of this. Every day I'm doing a video. And it's kind of crazy. I can actually see the finish line. I can say that when I got to middle of January, I was like, am I really still going to do this? When I got to February, I was like, okay, I'm still doing this. When I got to March, I was ready to quit. I'm not going to lie. But I kept going. You probably can see in my videos, I've changed tactics a lot of times. I started off, trying to do things, outside of the house. It's really hard in Detroit because you got the winter time, so you really don't want to do a whole lot outside of the house. And in winter time, you only get like 2 hours of sunlight. When the sun did come up, I was kind of already in a formula where I was talking about the news. That seemed to be the easiest thing for me. Again, going back to talking about news and current events, I love talking about that stuff in general. I love making jokes about it. One of my favorite things to watch is the Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live. If I could work with that group that does the Weekend Update and just spit jokes and just have a good time about the news, a tastefully good time, that would probably be one of my dream jobs. I wish they would allow guest writers or guest comedians or guest hosts for the Weekend Update. Please just sign me up. Just let it be like a normal person, and I would love to sit there and just read some of the jokes that these writers come up with and try to keep a straight face. I love watching when the actors try to keep a straight face, because it cracks me up. Like this past weekend, Leslie Jones, I feel like she's actually come into her own as a cast member on Saturday Night Live. She's not the best, but then again, I didn't think Keenan was one of the best when he started, and he's easily groomed into one of my favorite cast members of all time on SNL. But I think Leslie Jones, she's hilarious when she tries to hold her laughter. It was the same way with the guy that played Stefan, who I can't remember his name right now. You guys probably know it faster than me, but he could never hold his laughter in when he was portraying Stefan on Saturday Night Live on the Weekend Update, and I thought that was just hilarious. But anyway, I wish I could be on the Weekend Update for just once. So if anyone does hear back from people at the Weekend Update or Saturday Night Live, please put in a word for me and let them know I would love to be a guest host. But yeah, again, just kind of getting back to that's what I really kind of got into. I was talking about whatever the current events of the day were. I was talking about the important topics. It was really hard as the years, as the days, or as the months progressed in 2018, because most of the topics were just so sad and so grave, and I felt like it does become depressing a little bit talking about some of the bad things that happen in the world. I mean, the ratio of bad news to good news almost seemed like 10 to 1, and I know that's not true in the world. I know that there is a lot more good than bad that is happening in the world. They just make it so much harder to find. It's almost like we as humans thrive off of news that is tragic. I don't know why that is the case. We seem to thrive on news that divides us rather than brings us together. I'm pretty sure there were many news stories about people helping other people, about white people helping black people helping white people, many races coming together, religions coming together, ethnicities coming together. We just don't report on it. Instead, we report on, when a Starbucks employee calls on some black people to leave the store because they think they're loitering, and they call the cops on them. We talk about how a black person pours a drink over a white bum in the street. We talked about a student who didn't get to give his valedictorian speech because the white principal had a vendetta against it. We find all these stories, and I say we because I was just as complicit in it. You see these stories and you're like, wow, I'm going to talk about that because I know people are paying attention to this and people will have something to say about it and they'll comment on it, versus, oh, here's a story. I did do one story about a young boy, I think it was in Louisiana or Atlanta, somewhere in the South, who was raising money to give food to homeless people on the streets, and I talked about him. And I don't really think that got a lot of views. But what did get a lot of views was the woman in Philadelphia that was had a whole bunch of money. She ran her own kitchen in North Philadelphia, and she was able to have this huge Black Panther themed party and things like that. That got a lot of views. This Is America got a huge amount of views. I think I got most of my viewership just from the analysis of the This Is America video, and I thought, hey, maybe I'm onto something. Maybe I should analyze videos like this. Unfortunately, no one makes videos like that all the time. There aren't a lot of music videos or lyrics out there that you can, really just sit back and digest and really take in and get other people's thoughts on it. Nas came out with a good CD, which I probably should have capitalized off of when that came out. But other than that, so much stuff is crap. I mean, just, Lil Wayne, I think one of his latest songs, it kind of is good. Maybe I'll analyze that, but again, that's just not me. I love listening to music. I love the beats, but I'm not someone who really kind of listens to the lyrics that much. This Is America struck me because I was like, well, let me hear what Childish Gambino, what Donald Glover actually does have to say. And obviously many other people wanted to dissect it, all the symbolism in it. It was pretty huge when it came out. It dropped on YouTube, so it was something that you wanted to jump on. And I was able to ride that wave. It was pretty successful. What am I doing right now? I'm just literally kind of shooting a breeze with you guys. So this is a live video. If you happen to watch this, if you don't, if you're watching from the future, don't cringe too much. But yeah, I'm just kind of going over my year in review right now. Typically, this is the time of year when you start to just look back and see, how you have been progressing. And I feel like I've progressed really well. Again, before, when I started this, I may have had less than 30 subscribers. I now have 300 subscribers, which is amazing. I'm sure most people just followed me just to see the one video, which was the This Is America video, and then they've never watched any other video that I've done again. And I find that so phenomenally interesting with the YouTube society, is that you can subscribe to somebody and only watch one video, and then you just completely forget that you subscribed to them. Like, there should be a way in YouTube where it says, you know, if you don't watch a certain amount of videos from a person, it'll just automatically unsubscribe you, or at least alert you to that, like, hey, you haven't watched this person's videos in a while, would you like to unsubscribe from them so that they don't pop up in your feed? Or, you know, just delete people for inactivity, because I think it really does give a false sense to content creators that they might get a certain amount of views if they have a certain amount of subscribers. Like, I would think if I had 300 subscribers or 1,000 subscribers or 1,000,000 subscribers that I would get that amount of views at least. And that's just not the case. So I really do think that YouTube does have some things to work on. As I've been doing more YouTube videos, I've seen many flaws get pointed out from YouTube, from other content creators, namely Philip DeFranco and Casey Neistat. They're two people that are avid YouTubers. Of course, Philip DeFranco has his Philip DeFranco show, which I have kind of modeled my videos after. Again, he was one of the first people that I saw when I started you know, checking out YouTube on a regular basis. He was doing videos from way back when. Him, along with there was a viral video film school. I can't remember the guy's name, but they were like the two folks that I would watch pretty much on a regular basis, and they were pretty much not just curating content, but then talking about the content a little bit as well. And I feel like Philip DeFranco has done an exemplary job, and you know, bringing news to the forefront. You know, from the douchebag of the day to, you know, whatever it be, he's done a great job, and I'm surprised that he's made it as far as he has with, you know, what his platform is, which is talking about the news. We've seen so many other Louder with Crowder, but they all have certain subsets, and I think that's the thing. They've all found people that they resonate with, people that want to hear what Philip has to say so that they can feel good about the way they think, and Philip DeFranco has somehow, you know, grasped onto those people. Philip has definitely had a journey, and I've kind of watched it, because I remember when he first started off, I mean, he had a whole bunch of different segments. It was hypersexualized at one point, and then he's kind of gone, and you can kind of see it also in like his set changes. Like right now, the set, his background is very reserved, and it has this certain air of I've arrived and I've made it, and it's very posh, or whatever the word might be. And it's very interesting to see how far he's come from, say, the childish light blue with the Angry Birds in the background and things like that, to where he is now. But still, I love what Philip DeFranco has done in his life and with his platform. He has done a lot of great things and has been almost a mentor, a detached mentor, for me to see what can and can't be done on the YouTube platform. And I would say that he was one of the reasons, he is probably the main reason why I have done daily vlogs like this. And I would say, you know, gosh, I'm trying to think who else. Casey Neistat, of course. If you don't follow Casey Neistat, then I'm not sure what you're doing on YouTube. Let me know who you guys follow if you even made it this far. I'm probably going to talk for another, let's see, we're at 18 minutes right now, so I'm going to talk for another 40 minutes. How about we make this an even 60-minute video? We'll see how long we get. But yeah, Casey Neistat, when he did his daily vlogs, I would say that I was amazed. But again, I think that Casey Neistat had a history with doing videos. He worked, I believe, for a production company, so he had a lot of the knowledge and the wherewithal. I'm not sure exactly how he got the connections to go to all the places that he was able to go, but again, the fact that he was able to film a lot of these things in ways that no one has ever filmed it before, and post things daily, amazing. When I first went with my wife to a Best Buy a few years ago to buy a MacBook Pro, we said, yeah, we're interested in vlogging. And the guy said, well, have you heard of Casey Neistat? And I was like, I've not heard of Casey Neistat. And this was like 2014, 2015. And then when I saw his first video, and I think it's still like his top video on his YouTube page, was Casey Neistat snowboarding through the streets of New York, being towed along by the NYPD. And I'm like, what? This, like, it's completely eye-opening when you can see videos like that just completely open your eyes, not just to things that are crazy spectacular, but things that no one would have even thought about doing. Like, yeah, there's snowboarding, and yeah, there's, you know, jet skiing and things like this. Here's a man who snowboards skiing through the streets of New York, being towed along by the NYPD. So it's like he's got the authorities helping him. He's got, you know, the people behind him. Like how what kind of person are you that can actually garner this type of support? And Casey has been that person, and it's just amazing to see Casey's progression also in his life, to have, you know, the highs of his daily vlogs, to when he, you know, started Beam, and then he joined CNN, and then that fell through. And it's just been amazing to see his progression, and to see now he has another child on the way. Just so many things. And, you know, as I have Shane and Logan Paul in the background. I think it's Logan Paul. Jake Paul here in the background. It's just amazing to see YouTubers' progression. So I am looking for the exact same thing when I, you know, look back on these videos, and, you know, 20, again, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, however long I live. I hope that this can serve as like a time capsule for my life. And that's why I'm kind of doing this October 10th video, because I really haven't talked about what my thinking, what my thought process has been to doing these videos. I really haven't talked about my life in many of these videos. It's been about the world. It's been just everything external to me, and I haven't really talked about how I've been internalizing the world and how I've been putting it back out there. And so basically my whole thought process is, again, just do a video a day. Just sit in front of this camera, talk about current events, talk about whatever's been on my mind, talk about my take on those current events, and see what other people think. It's to get a conversation started at the end of the day. And some of those conversations have been good. I feel like for the most part people disagree with most of the things that I have to say, and that's completely fine. I feel like part of that is me trying to goad people into disagreeing with what I say. Not necessarily saying that I don't believe what I say is right. I do believe most of the things that I say is right, but it's just interesting because a lot of people will sometimes agree with me in my more conservative thinking, and some people will agree with me in my more liberal thinking. And what I found is that I sway back and forth on some of these things. I am not strictly conservative right wing. I'm not strictly liberal left wing. I'm not strictly liberal. There are things where I am just back and forth, and I think that is completely okay. We are humans, and we are susceptible to change more than anything. We have to adapt. We have to adapt constantly, because we live in a constantly changing world. And if you do not adapt to new ways of thinking, if you do not adapt to new ways of living, you will perish. That's pretty much been the life lesson that all species have learned throughout all of history. If you do not adapt, you will die. It's Darwin at its finest. And we as humans have learned to adapt, we've learned to cope, and we've learned to find new ways. As Ian Malcolm, or would say, whatever his name was, Dr. Malcolm in Jurassic Park, life finds a way, and we find a way. And I feel like I found a way from a young kid growing up in a single parent household in Philadelphia, going to, you know, middle school and trying to find my way there, running away and then coming back home, to going to high school and, you know, just completely, you know, going to one of the best high schools in Philadelphia and trying to find my way from, you know, being the best in the worst middle school to now trying to be the best in the best high school, and working through that, and then going to a great college in Penn State and learning my way through that, and finally having my own independence, to, you know, then moving into the professional world and getting a job and just navigating and finding the love of my life, and just so many things that you just adapt to. Life changes constantly, and in the first 18 years of your life, you're literally being, you know, thrown new things every couple of years. You know, from 0 to 3, everything is new to you. Then you end up going to preschool. Like my oldest daughter is going to preschool, and it's completely new. And then you go to elementary school, and you do that for 5 years, and then you go to middle school for 3 years, and it's something new. And then high school for 4 years, and then college for 4 years, and then you start working, and then you're all of a sudden expected to have sort of this like stagnant lifestyle for the rest of your life, for the next, you know, 60 years or however long you exist on this planet. And yes, it seems like such a blip when you look at the history of the world, or the history of existence. You hear like Neil deGrasse Tyson, or Neil Tyson deGrasse, however you say his name, and he talks about, or many physicists and you know, lecturers will say, humanity has only been around for the last tenth of a second in the, you know, the clock of life or whatever. We are a blip, But I feel like we need to make the most of that blip, and I feel like I've tried to do that. You know, when my wife and I got married in 2010, I would have never, I would have never imagined being married 20 years ago when I was 20 years old. When I was, no, I'm not 20 years ago, that would have been 10, 12 years old. When I was 12 years old, I would have never ever imagined I would be married. I'm sorry, I didn't grow up in a world where marriage seemed like it was a feasible option. Again, I grew up in a single parent household. I grew up, it was me and my half sister, and my father was already married to another woman, and there were just so many things. I didn't grow up in a household. I grew up in inner city Philadelphia, row homes, seeing the police go up and down the streets because there were drug dealers living across from us. I did not live a life that, you know, would have put me where I am today. I will definitely say that if it wasn't for my Lord and Savior, who I, you know, believe, you know, has led me to be where I am. If it wasn't for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I would probably be either dead or in jail, or, you know, some drugged up crackhead on a corner in Philadelphia. But, you know, this, it's so crazy when you think about life, and you think about where you were when you were 12 versus where you were when you were 22, and then where you were when you were 32. And it's, to me, it's just amazing. I can say my life has been nothing short of amazing. Now, having a wife, 2 kids, and another one on the way, I'm just astounded. I'm astounded. I absolutely love life. I absolutely love where I am, and I love where I'm going. And I feel like that's the most important part. And I feel like that's an important part for most people. They have gone through life, and there's nothing to look forward to for most people. I don't know. Maybe you can let me know. Do people plan ahead, you know, 5 years, 10 years? I will say I've talked many times in high schools and middle schools when I go back and I talk to these kids, and even in college, and I always ask them, what are your plans in the next 5 years? What are your plans in the next 10 years? Where do you see yourself in 15 years? And many of them have no idea. And that's scary to me, because I feel like when I was in their shoes, I knew where I wanted to go. And I feel like I knew where I wanted to go because I was scared of where I could end up if I didn't have a plan. I was scared that if I didn't go to college, I would be stuck in my mother's house. I would be stuck under her oppressive thumb. I would be stuck in inner city Philadelphia, and I wanted nothing to do with that. I was scared that if I did not get a good education in high school, that I wouldn't get into a good college where I could move far away from Philadelphia, or at least far enough away. And I was scared that I wasn't going to get, you know, an academic scholarship, and I was scared that I wasn't going to get, you know, a good career. And so I felt like, you know, 5 to 10 years, I knew I wasn't the best ball player. I knew I wasn't, you know, the greatest wrestler, amateur wrestler. I knew I didn't have those skills, and I feel like, you know, I knew I wasn't going to be a rapper. I tried all of those things. Believe me, I tried to make some raps, and they were terrible. I mean, in high school, my freshman year, me and a couple of friends, we would try to rap about some of the most stupidest, ludicrous things. I still remember some of them. I will not repeat them here, obviously, but they were really stupid. Nelly was out, so just think along those lines. Nelly, DMX, Ja Rule, they were big at that time. 50 Cent was just starting to come onto the scene, but just think, and you'll probably figure out, you know, exactly what we were making up raps about. But my life never mirrored what any of those things were about, so I had no idea what I was talking about. But anyway, all I knew was that I was smart. Even if I wasn't the smartest, I knew that I could use my intelligence to make it in life. And I feel like that's what's lacking in so many children today. They don't realize that they have the intellect, they have the brain power, and the willpower to actually make it. So many men and women don't realize that they could also be engineers, that they could actually have a sustainable life, making a good salary, living in a good neighborhood, and actually have a quality of living that they would like to have. Many think that the only way forward is ball, that ball is life. I saw this one clip the other day where Chris Bosh and his son were on a TV screen, and the announcer says, "So, are you gonna be a baller when you grow up?" And the son said, "I don't know what that is," or something, and Chris Bosh just said, "Just say yes. just say yes. Like, what does that teach not just your child but everyone else that watches that? That default lifestyle is, I have to be a baller. When we look at LeBron James's sons and they're playing basketball, or what's the guy's name, LeVar Ball, and all his sons are playing basketball, and that's all that's posted on the TV screen is these boys playing basketball. I never see anyone's sons or daughters, being an engineer. Like, the closest we've kind of gotten is to the Obamas, and even their daughter has taken a gap year and is off partying or something, and they manage to always find videos of her either partying or in some band. Like, there's never any example of these students or these celebrities actually going off and becoming an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or anything that is that contributes to society in a way that doesn't involve sports or the arts. And I'm not saying that those are bad careers at all. I feel like they are very much necessary. I feel like we need artists. We need, people that play sports. We need people in every single spectrum of the world, as they show amateur wrestling right here. We need people in every single area of life, because that's what brings the uniqueness. That's what helps us to create ideas. I mean, I cannot tell you how many innovations have come up because someone drew something and they made some sort of art, and then it became a building and they needed to find a way to build that building. So they came up with a material, and we had material science engineers, and we had, civil engineers and all sorts of structural engineers working on something that all came from a piece of art, from an artist. Or I cannot tell you, with musicians in the music and the guitars and the saxophones and the acoustical engineering, and how we come up with these things. And it goes from just being an art to now being a science. Or golf clubs alone, and the aerodynamics of golf clubs, and you've got aerospace engineers who are designing golf clubs. Or football helmets, and you've got engineers that are trying to make sure that these guys don't get concussions. Like, sports and art are necessary for us to come up with some of the unique and novel solutions for other things. Because now, if you think about a guy that's running like a missile at somebody else, he needs a helmet that can compress and do different things. Well, we can use those same things in an automobile or in a vehicle to help reduce car accidents and things like that. Like, there are so many things in which we all can weave in and out our disciplines and our interests and the things that we love to do. But I feel like this world focuses so much on the athlete and on the artist, and there is no love that is given to the scientist or to the engineer or to the lawyer or to the doctor or to whatever. And I just wish in some way that was the case. I just came back from Penn State this past week at I sit on an advisory board for one of the engineering groups at Penn State. And we're talking about, why isn't there a reality show for engineers? I would love a reality show that, they just came out with this new TV show in a hospital. I feel like there's so many shows that just take place in hospitals. I'm like, why isn't there a show about what engineers go through? You could do like an Engineers Without Borders show or something like that, or just something that shows what engineers do. And it doesn't have to always be like the exciting life of an engineer. I mean, there are times where we're just sitting behind a computer screen trying to solve a problem, or we're working with a group of people. Like, you have those things, but it's just like when you're practicing in a basketball court, you spend hours upon hours upon hours upon hours practicing a jump shot, practicing your layup, practicing your free throw, hours upon hours. And then we get the 60 minutes where you're in front of the TV screen. You could make a show with an engineer or a group of engineers or female engineers, because females don't see engineers growing up. Males don't see engineers growing up. We see doctors. We might see, a lawyer here or there when we're, if you're in a downtown area walking around, you see people in business suits. But you don't just see an engineer or a lab scientist walking around, with their engineering tools or with their lab coat on outside. You just don't see that. And so unfortunately, they're not going to get that in their normal day-to-day lives. But you don't see basketball players and football players walking around on the street every day either. But our society pushes it every weekend, and then in the fall it seems like every day. You have the Major League Baseball playoffs happening right now. You got basketball coming back, hockey coming back, football's in full swing, college football's in full swing. So you see it all the time. But you'll never see an engineer or a TV show about an engineer. You'll never see any of that show. So I'm just saying, I wish that we pushed engineers, doctors, and lawyers as much as we pushed our athletes and our artists. You just had the American Music Awards yesterday. Why aren't we showcasing an engineering award? Why aren't we showcasing the people that are changing our lives through their daily work on a daily basis? Why isn't there something? And I know why, because people won't watch it. It won't drive ratings, and that's okay, but it should be done. Something needs to be done, because you got so many people. I applaud the Academy Awards, because at least they give out awards for things like, sound engineering and all these different things. They at least give out awards for people in the arts that are doing some of those hard things. But I just wish there were public awards that were given. And I know there are public awards, but I wish it was televised. I wish that the Association of Energy Engineers, or whatever the major engineering disciplines that have societies and things like that, I wish that there was a way that those got more airtime. I wish there was a Met Gala for engineers and scientists. We give out the Nobel Peace Prize, and those things are great, but even those, they aren't really publicized a lot. They get publicized when like the first female physicist gets an award. It's not on a daily basis. It's just not, and it's really sad. It's really sad, because we're gonna lose out on a lot of talent. We're gonna lose out on a lot of people that could have probably done great things in this world, because they did not know that there was a path for them, that there was an engineering path for them, that there was a science path for them, that they could have been a chemist, that they could have been, so many different things. And you'll have to excuse the plumbing here in the background, but that they had so many different avenues than just ball player, or what have you, or rapper. And so I don't know. That's one thing that I wish we could change in society. But anyway, I have digressed. What timing are we at? Oh my goodness, we're only at 36 minutes, guys. Well, I don't know how long this video is. It's like 47 minutes long, so at least I've got something going in the background. But again, I really just wanted to do this video because I felt like I just needed to talk. I just needed to get stuff off my chest. Sometimes in order for me to get new ideas, I have to get the current idea out of my head. And for the last couple of weeks, I would almost say for the last month, I have really just wanted to stand here and just talk. Just say whatever came to my mind and just let it flow over, because there have just been so many news topics, so many things. I know back in August I said I'm not talking about the news anymore because all the news was going to focus on was the midterm elections, and boy was I wrong, because they really have not talked about the midterms. It's mainly been Brett Kavanaugh, and who is Brett Kavanaugh, what did Brett Kavanaugh do, or what didn't he do. I mean, that really took front stage, and it's just amazing how the media can just completely just hone in on this thing. There was a time when, and maybe there wasn't a time, maybe this was just me not really watching the news like I watch the news now, or maybe it was just me watching the wrong news stations. Maybe I just need to get back to watching local news, but I just feel like all CNN, all Fox News, all MSNBC do is just they hone in on one thing. Like, I have no idea what they're talking about now that the whole Brett Kavanaugh thing is over. I bet they're still talking about Brett Kavanaugh, and if they're not, then they're finally starting to focus on the midterms. But that's the main reason why I wanted to stop talking about the news in general, was just because I knew that it was going to be all about the midterms. We weren't going to hear anything different. I would have nothing to talk about, because it would just be, this is the midterms, here's who's running, and blah, 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 blah. And I just did not want my videos to be consumed by that. So that's why I kind of switched over to more of a vlogging thing, and it worked for a bit. But like I said, you really have to be dedicated to the vlog game to put some quality content together. Granted, I could just, film a bunch of videos and just mash it all together and just put it out there and let it go. But I don't know, there's something about a vlog when you start to take raw video, you want to start to polish it. It's so weird. It's like the mind just automatically wants to take that raw video and turn it into something, and add music and get the right cuts and make it look good. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. I won't say that I am a perfectionist per se, but I do like things to be presented well. So if I am going to do a vlog, I want to make sure that it's put together well. Sometimes that can be a detriment to me because then I'm taking hours. And that was one thing, kind of going into this, and as I've gone forward, I did not want this channel to take away from time with my family, and I feel like it has. I feel like it's become more of a responsibility. I feel like it's become a child in itself because I have to make sure that I feed it every day, that I'm putting up something every day. So it became more of a child where I'm actually now looking for topics to talk about. I'm looking for ideas and inspirations, and when nothing natural comes to me, I feel myself getting angry and stressed out, and that's just never good. So I definitely think that come December 31st, 2018, I am done. This isn't going to be something where I'm like, hey, I did this for a year, why not go 2 years? No, I think that I'm going to be done. That's not to say that I won't come back if I feel like I have a desire or I need to talk about something. That's not to say that I, wouldn't come back and do a video. Maybe I'll do something once a week. Maybe I'll do something every other day. I definitely would like to keep it up, but not to the extent where I'm giving of myself, and I'm just completely focused on trying to find a story and talk about it. I would probably do, just, hey, how's it going? Did you guys hear about this? What do you think about that? And that might be it. But trying to find some news articles, let me tell you what I would do. So typically, and I got better at this as time went on, but I would use Google Trends, kind of see what kind of stories were trending. But even those, mainly sports, I mean, Google Trends is really a poor place to try to find trending news because it was mainly sports. I mean, it's amazing how many people are looking up sports topics in the evening. Maybe I needed to look at it earlier in the day when sports weren't, really trending. I would look at Twitter trends. For a while, it was also Facebook, but then Facebook got rid of its whole news thing because they just couldn't figure out how to get their news algorithm or any of their algorithms to work. Yet for some reason, they think that they can put out some sort of a video system kit, whatever they're calling it, and actually get that right. And I just don't agree with whoever decided that was a good idea. But anyway, so I would use that. Then I look at Yahoo News because a lot of people were using, Yahoo News, and then, like the Associated Press, BBC, Fox, CNN, just a lot of different places to try to find news. And it was so tiring reading the just the headlines of some things and scrolling and just not really being present with my daughters or with my wife, but just looking for stories. And you would get upset. I would get upset if I didn't find anything. I'm like, what the heck? And it's not that I wouldn't find anything. I just didn't find anything that I wanted to talk about. And I mean, you look at like Shane and Jake Paul here, like every day for them seems like an adventure, but it's not that easy. They put together this content, and believe me, it is not easy, and it's not cheap either. It's not. Right? Like, unless you live out in LA and this is literally is your daily life, some people get paid for it. But again, they're getting paid for it. You don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm gonna go jump on in a dune buggy and go for a ride. You could, and I'm pretty sure that there's people that could do that. I could honestly probably do that. I have a whole week off. I could probably go up to Sleeping Bear Dunes up in northern Michigan, take the 6-hour drive, find some dune buggies, pay for it, and film myself going up there. But that's not me. That's that. It is, and it is me to a certain extent. I would love to travel, but that's not me right now. I've got 2 girls. I've got a boy on the way. My wife. We have a family, and that might be what I start to film more or less coming up. Is just them, because they are my center. They are my joy. They are my excitement. Doing these daily vlog things, it's not for me. I wanted to do it because I challenged myself. I stuck to it, and I'm happy about that, but it's just not me. And here we are at the 43rd minute. I'm pretty sure this video is probably going to end soon because I think it's only 47 minutes. Was anyone actually paying attention to this? I obviously was not, but I would love to know what you guys think of, just everything of life. Again, I kind of just talked about a lot of different things here, so hopefully you were able to keep up. But yeah, let me know what you think of my channel, of things that I could do, in 2019 that obviously aren't too crazy, because I'm not going to do anything crazy, especially nothing that would jeopardize my day job. I'm not quitting my day job. As they say, don't quit your day job. So I definitely have no plans to do that. And hey, look, to be continued. So thank you all for watching. And oh, look, they obviously continue right now. But yeah, thank you guys for watching in part 6 and 7. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow with, I don't know, maybe another 45-minute video. Thank you, and peace out. Let me end this. Bye. See if we can end this easily without destroying everything. Oh, here we go. Nope, I don't think I did it right, guys. All right, here we go. And end.